this. Our security officers do a fantastic job. The National Police Service has done a fantastic job over time. Those who serve in security committee know the sacrifices the police officers in Northeastern, for example, now that we are discussing strategic goods bill, suffering attacks with IEDs, the enemy from the neighboring country. All those security officers are really sacrificing, doing a lot. The National Police Service, the IG, the deputy IGs, and all this team are doing a fantastic job. Only for someone to write a script, abduct themselves, and then come and stupefy, the entire police service and say, there is this squad, attacking this, arresting that other person, there is whatever, tribalize the police, and then only to eventually realize that the same script ends up with a very enjoyable night for a member of parliament with the company of two. You will read the statement with the company enjoying himself with the two Tusker Lager and accompanied by other benefits and resources throughout the night, only for someone to be dropped in some corner. Nobody says who recorded him. Nobody wants to say who recorded him, at what corner. I think this event of this year, I see many Kenyans making it a joke on social media. Tomorrow, this similar person will stage a killing of somebody or another very terrible abduction which will go wrong, and then we will come back here and say, this government, that government. We must thank President William Ruto because he has kept his word that extrajudicial killings and violation of the law shall be a thing of the past. And because this is not happening, now people are doing it on themselves. So you must help us. You must help us by having a proper legal framework that will enable us to punish such cases and punish them properly. You must also help us, a member of parliament, that no one will be above the law. Yeah, that if you ever occupied a higher office in the past, it is not an insurance for you to incite the public and to stage such kind of acts. So even as we discuss these issues that have been properly raised by civil society and citizens who fear that in some cases people have disappeared only to reappear, we also have increasing cases of fake kidnappings and abductions. These self-abductions and self-kidnappings, they make nonsense of the serious subject that we are dealing with of abductions. And I'm saying this with utmost respect because last year, December, there was a gentleman called Norbert Mulwa who staged an abduction. And then he was finally found to be hiding in Kitengela in December last year and extorting money from the sister. And he was taking pictures, having tied himself and taking pictures and sending to family because he wanted money from the sister. We have also had cases where spouses fake abductions just to run away from their other spouses for many different reasons. And this is not a laughing matter. This is a serious global issue. We have also now seen cases of this matter has now escalated to a level where in the situation we have been handling this week, where a member of parliament is abducting himself. And this is serious because a member of parliament is a person who occupies a very high office. And this comes after we lost another member of parliament who was unfortunately shot, and the case is in court. So when a member of parliament participates in this very comical act of self-abduction, it generally creates despondency among the population. And it also lightens, it makes cheap and lighter a serious subject matter of abduction. And therefore, I'd like to request members of parliament, I know you had said earlier that as technology advances, I think people are becoming stupider. If there is such an English word we have invented today, or incorrigibly, incorrigibly stupid. And so some of the, what happened this week really has made me think that we need your support, Honorable Dido Raso, and the Security Committee and the rest of the committees and members of Parliament to come up with a serious law. And this has been done. We've been combing through the law to find out what exactly is such a member of Parliament going to be charged with. And you realize that most of the offenses that he has committed may be lighter. We need a more serious law that will provide serious punishment for people who are faking kidnappings. I may be the lone voice, but I want to register it on record that I appreciate the work members of Parliament do in the security sector with the National Government Constituency Development Fund. And if the time comes for public participation or any conversation around these resources, I am going to continue being on record to be the Cabinet Secretary who supports the presence of NGCDF in the country. I believe, and this is not just political statements, I did so when I was a senator, I believe that money that have gone to the corner of Kenya, somewhere in Elwak, yeah, despite the conversation about whether I love my MP or not, I believe that money is more devolved than the ones that come to the county headquarters. Yeah? And so, if those resources are being appropriated by locals in a village in certain corner, and they are saying we want to build this police station, we want to build this chief's office, we want to build a sub-county office, I don't think it is right for us to say, return that money back to Nairobi, so that we can now all of us go and queue in the Ministry of Education to beg for money for classes, the Ministry of Interior to ask for money for police station, Ministry of Agriculture to ask for this. I think that we can, within the remaining 1 year that the courts have given us to relook at the CDF law and so forth, we can fashion it a little better, but the concept of having national government, CDF, is extremely important, and even more important for the security and security-prone areas like the marginalized and ASAL areas. So my voice, I will be giving my voice both as a cabinet secretary but also as a citizen of this country, that these resources need to go further, not to come back. And we need, as I sat in the task force on devolved government, so I was part of the people who drafted the 6 laws for devolution before I became a senator. And if you look at Article 6 of the Constitution, it doesn't say, it says, it doesn't say devolution is a factor of counties. Devolution also is a principle that applies to national government, so that it says that the devolved system of government must make government, national government, even if their functions are national in nature, they must be able to use the principle of devolution to decentralize resources and functions closer to the people. So I want us to look at Article 6 from that perspective. And therefore, maybe I'm selfish, but I have seen what CDF does for security, and I am looking for partnership with members of Parliament. We build more security installations, especially police stations. Most of our police stations in some areas are looking very bad. Some in some constituencies are fantastic. I like to see a common structures of police stations, chief's offices. When I went to Marsabit the other day, I went to open a chief's office built by Honorable Dido Raso and the CDF in that place, and I looked, it was very good. And I went to another one in Machakos and other places when we were doing Jukwaa Usalama. I really want to see a lot of this, and we have instructed National Police Service to give us standard model of a police station, so that we have one model for across the country, and we are also developing a standard office of the chief and the standard office of ACC, DCC, county, so that we, all of us, build standard offices across the country and allow our officers to operate in respectable offices. Once we are done with this bill, I may want also your support, Honorable Raso and your colleagues, we think through another bill, and particularly around, I think the country has been grappling with the subject of enforced disappearance. And there has been many questions that has been asked around this subject, particularly on cases of kidnappings and abductions. And this, it is important. If you look at this bill that we have proposed here, the strategic goods bill, if you look at the punishment in terms of violations in the bill, you realize that the fine is 50 million, you know, and you see that the sentence is up to 10 years. So you can see the seriousness that is applied insofar as this bill is concerned. I think that it's also time we have honest conversation about enforced disappearance and put in place proper legal frameworks that deals with any cases of abductions and kidnappings that may happen in the country.